de grabar. Ok, muy buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Diana, qué fondo, relajante, very relaxing. Background, wow. Es.
Ojalá que fuera ahí,
Sí, if
¿correcto?
only I were, exactamente. Ah, y lo mismo para todos, ¿no? Ah, bueno, entonces, vamos a hablar de muchísimas cosas, especialmente del subjuntivo esta noche. Y me imagino que ustedes van a tener muchísimas preguntas. Todo está bien. Ah, my morning class had a ton of questions about the video. Is that the same for everybody here? There were a lot of people who were like, oh my God, I am overwhelmed, which is not like totally surprising. I think the initial half of that video is pretty easy to follow, but I had to really go through segment by segment. So if there are things that you need with that tonight, don't hesitate to let me know. Um,
Marilyn, I did have one question.
sí, sí.
The only place she lost me was with Asta K.
Okay. You're
And
in the
I,
segment where it's tougher, and I'll kind of show departure where like everything before it is more core to what we're doing
Mhm.
today, and everything else will be not so core, and I'll explain why. ¿Pueden
Yeah.
ver el dibujo animado aquí? Can you see the our little cartoon?
Sí.
Ujú,
Eso
sí.
sí, okay. Interesting. Interesante. Yeah. And when I share a screen with you tonight, para que sepan, so you know, I am not seeing the full on bank of everybody together, which I should, but I'm not, which means there's something funky with my update. Oh, yeah. ¿Y por qué? Why is that? No lo sé. I don't know why. Oh, aquí viene. Here it
Oh,
comes. Okay, it's maybe correcting itself. Vale, bueno. Entonces, el dibujo animado, pues no es animado, pero el dibujo dice, si la primera parte aquí dice, Simba, algún día el español será tuyo. Simba, one of these days. Spanish will be yours. ¿Qué es la región oscura? ¿Qué es? What is that dark region? Es el reino del subjuntivo. It's the kingdom of subjunctive. Muy pocos se atreven a entrar allí. Very few dare to enter there. And that is how the person who sent this to me said, that's how I feel about I said, well, don't feel like you are alone because you are not. Okay. Pero, vamos a practicar mucho. You guys may get a little bit further if you have further questions, or we may be exactly where the other class was. No sé. Momentito. I need to make sure I've got my sound turned on. Quiero mostrarles la parte más importante, the really most important part, and where everything after that will kind of depart. Everything she had up here, the little conversation, la conversación, los ejemplos en la conversación, all this stuff is very good for examples, all of this. And then she goes through and does a little one, two, three, four, five. No sé exactamente cuántos puntos hay. She's got a few points where she shows or tries to explain why these subjunctive examples were important. But then she kind of gets to a segment, and I believe it's right after here, where she starts to get into some examples that get a little into the weeds. This one is not getting too into the weeds yet. Oh, and if you guys have a question, you will need to raise your hand, not raise your hand. I won't be able to see you. When I put on the video screen, it will not show me you guys. So if you have a question and you're raising your hand, I can't see it. Interrupt me. ¿Cuándo con subjuntivo sí es importante? When with subjunctive is important because sometimes you use it and sometimes you don't. And the word cuando is really, es importante, es común, se usa con frecuencia. We use the phrase cuando with a phrase all the time. So because this is so common, this will be important to understand. I'll go back to it in a moment. Cuando sí es importante, en cuanto, quizás, maybe, tan pronto como, eventually, sí, hasta que. Once she gets into these, it starts to get into the weeds a lot. Okay? The short answer to why is things like con tal de que, hasta que, después que, de que. All of those things are adverbial phrases. And some of those will always use a subjunctive. Some use it some of the time, but not all of the time. And that's the kind of thing that AP Spanish students who take exams for university have to negotiate, but you do not. Uh, Adverbial phrases with subjunctive can be somewhat tricky, and they do kind of go down the rabbit hole pretty deep. So we're not going to deal very much with adverbial phrases, except for I do want to talk a little bit about cuando today. So I'm going to replay just the thing with cuando in a minute. En un minuto. En un minuto. Ok. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué deben ustedes, qué deben saber, qué deben entender del uso del subjuntivo? Primero, deben entender cómo se forma. You should understand how it's formed. Okay. En presente, porque es fácil y hay pocos verbos irregulares. No es difícil formar subjuntivo. Lo difícil es entender por qué se usa, por qué, why. Ok, a ver. Will you be perfect at it? Es probable que no vayan a entender totalmente. Es probable, es posible que no entiendan ah, totalmente todo el subjuntivo. Y está bien, porque es algo muy profundo. Es un tema muy profundo. It's a very deep topic. What you should understand is how to form it and some of the very simple uses of it. Uh, can you do a workaround and avoid it entirely because you feel like the little Simba of, I don't want to go to that dark land? It is okay to do workarounds. In many cases, sometimes it is possible. If you hit a blip, you hit a speed bump, and you find you don't remember and you need to get an idea out fast, and you make a mistake, no pasa nada. But the fact is, people will constantly in their speech throw out ideas that use it. So you should be prepared for you're going to hear it quite a lot if you speak with somebody, have a short conversation with people. Um, so recognizing it, think about kind of put a mental pin in any example people use when they speak to you, because that shows you a typical pattern that you should anticipate and eventually be able to say. But anticipating it so you understand it is a big deal. Okay. Uh, And we're going to talk a little bit about some of this philosophy because it's actually good to think about it. Okay. There are a few things I'm going to point out before we get to cuando, just to kind of pull up. So here is the typical what you see. Las frases que ustedes pueden ver en la pantalla expresan situaciones en que el uso del subjuntivo es común para expresar probabilidades, posibilidades y acciones futuras. Esta idea de acciones futuras es algo importante con la palabra cuando. This cuando thing or the antes de que thing. These are tied to future. Not all of them are tied, though they are kind of tied to future in this way. So, okay, what we used to say with the big idea of subjunctive is it talks about possibilities, things that might happen, but you don't really know, things that are totally contrary to fact. That really messes with the English mind. And yeah, and okay, but often you'll hear people using subjunctive with something like cuando, and then not using subjunctive with a different phrase with cuando, and that means something. Okay. Rather than, I gave you a slide and it told you that weirdo verbs are a trigger for subjunctive. Okay. That is the time-honored way of teaching English speaking students situations where subjunctive will come up. What is a trigger? What is a situation that will require me to use subjunctive later on in the sentence? And they are true, but the latest thinking on this, I don't know how recent it is, maybe a couple years old, maybe longer, maybe 5 years old. I don't think longer than 5 years old. There's some grammar guru. I don't remember the guy's name. People bow down to him, apparently. And his theory is weirdo is hogwash, although he uses a much more graphic term for it than hogwash. Uh, and really, we should not teach people that that is the case. We should teach people that subjunctive uh, is about declaring or not declaring. And subjunctive is actually about not declaring that an action is a fact. All right. Now, you may say that helps me, like, not at all. But if you think about very hard, it is helpful. Uh, Recognizing where it will come up is difficult. Um, okay, but we'll try to wrap our minds around it. So let's look, and we're only looking at present subjunctive, by the way, for the next bit. So let's listen to just. And that puede que is kind of a way of saying a maybe. Yeah. Puede que llueva mañana. Could be that. Yeah. All right. So she's just giving some phrases, but the problem is there are tons and tons of phrases that can use subjunctive. Gobs and gobs and gobs. We want to recognize the easier thing. Plain old future kind of states it as a fact. Future is not subjunctive, future by itself. All right. Future tense by itself is not subjunctive. It is in the indicative realm. And it indicates a certain amount of uh, uh, being assured that that thing is going to happen. Okay. Vale. Bueno. Es posible que, muy útil. You, a lot of phrases start with es and an adjective, and then have a que attached. All right. when that que is attached and that que is really, really key, it means we're going to need subjunctive after the que. These things are called impersonal phrases because if I say it is possible, it doesn't mean that you or I or Luisa or los niños or anybody, any human being is involved. That is why it is impersonal. It's not conjugated for yo, tú, nosotros, él, ella, ustedes. It's not conjugated for any of that. It's just es posible. It, not a person. Posible que. But that phrase could just as easily be, por ejemplo, es imposible. It would still, que, it would still need subjunctive. Es probable que would still need subjunctive. Es importante que would still need subjunctive. Es necesario que would still need subjunctive. Es bueno que, plain old bueno, still needs subjunctive. Es malo que, plain old malo, still needs subjunctive. These impersonal phrases require that, okay? Let me put this back on. A ver, un momentito. Okay. Es posible que. Es posible que. So impersonal phrases. Now, there's a workaround sometimes with impersonal phrases. If I don't peg a human face to it, and you'll see how that looks later on. So that might have a workaround in some cases that works, but let's listen a
Posible
little.
que. Es posible que indica incertidumbre. Indicates uncertainty. Es posible que llueva mañana. It's possible that it rains tomorrow. Necesitamos que siempre. Que, no lo olvides. Número 2. Expresa duda. Duda es doubt.
Expressing doubt. And
Puede
that's
que
the
llueva
puede
mañana.
que. The puede que is a maybe. Now, notice something else I
Tal
want to
vez,
show you.
since you
Tal
learn
vez.
Spanish now, we'll treat
Tal vez. Maybe. Tal vez, she uses subjunctive, and she even says, people don't realize that's how we know you are a gringo, because you don't use subjunctive with tal vez. But in point of reality, some people will use subjunctive with tal vez, some don't. And whether they use it or not indicates how sure, what's their level of feeling like this is really going to happen. The higher, the more confident they feel it's going to happen, they may choose to use indicativo with tal vez. But in many, many cases, if they think it's super iffy, they're going to use subjunctive with tal vez. Okay? So people may do a flippy flop. But the important thing is, if they say tal vez and use subjunctive, they're indicating not declaring this is a fact.
Marilyn,
Yeah, sí.
speak on. If I were to say, cuando te vea, voy a darte un beso, no? That's doubt, so I use subjunctive. But if I'm going to make that a fact, cuando te veo, voy a darte un beso. When I see you, I'm going to give you a kiss. There's no doubt. I'm going to do that. Is that
Sí. Okay. Let me get to cuando now, since you've got cuando as an idea, because cuando is one of the things that comes up, and this is one of the biggies. And it's not like, I'll take this off. Stop share, so we'll stop it here. Okay, a ver. Pam, 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 pam. Bien, 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 bien. Vale, cuando es un animal que es diferente de los otros. Cuando is different from the others. And don't raise your hand because I won't see you now because, yeah, I got this glitch I haven't figured out yet. Okay. Cuando goes a couple of ways. I'm going to make this bigger. Voy a engrandecer. Sí. Uy, uy. Voy a engrandecer la pantalla aquí. Cuando might go either way, but somebody is either using cuando as a declaration of this really does happen, or cuando as subjunctive, meaning it hasn't really happened yet, but it might, it will, but we're not at the point in the future of hitting that when. All right. Cuando te veo, ah, te doy un besito. When I see you, I'm giving you a little kiss. When I see you, I give you a little kiss. Cuando te veo, this indicates that you do this activity as a part of your habit. It's a habit.
Mhm.
I see you, and I see you, well, I don't know how often, but I do see you. It's something I do. I really do that. See you around. Cuando te veo, when I see you, uh, I give you a little kiss. Okay. Uh, and I'm going to make this maybe a little more personal. Nos veamos, when we see each other, which is the same idea, but this is subjunctive. Cuando nos veamos, te voy a dar un besito. When we see each other, I'm going to give you a little kiss. And this says in the future. And this has not happened yet. Cuando te veo says this happens as kind of a routine thing in my day from time to time.
Mhm.
This says whenever this time will come that this happens, but it hasn't happened yet. Okay? It's a subtle, it's a nuance. It's a subtle thing. When we see each other at long last, yeah, and it hasn't happened yet. And here, this is planted in the future, telling me, oh, I will do this, but this other thing hasn't happened yet. So the implication with using cuando nos veamos is it isn't happening in real time. I cannot declare this is happening now. So cuando has a foot in each world. It's got a foot in the indicative world. It's got a foot in the subjunctive world. Okay.
Right. Question.
Sí, sí,
What
dime.
what confused me the most about that was she was saying you need it for quando, but you don't use it for if. And to me,
Oh,
if
that's
is
yes.
iffier than when will such and such.
Okay.
But she says, but if you say if this happens, then you use indicative, and that's
Okay.
backwards to me.
Here we go. Can of worms. Um, she's right. Um, if sometimes uses subjunctive and sometimes does not. We're really going to have to leave if for another day because it's too far down the rabbit hole. Okay. If is something where a particular type of structure will use if, subjunctive, and pair it with a conditional in the latter half of the sentence. And other situations will use if with a future idea, and they use all indicative plain old present tense. And that is really better left for another day because I am not going to go down the rabbit hole of doing the past subjunctive, which is it's a cranker because you have to know all the preterites well.
Yeah. But the way she
Okay.
explained it, it was like, yes, always you're going to be,
Yeah.
using the
Okay. So
indicative
what's
with
this
if.
based on is the si yo fuera tú, if I were you. And the key is if your idea is if I were you, I would do something, uses if I were you, si yo fuera tú,
Mhm.
I would call, llamaría. Si yo fuera tú, lo llamaría. I would call him. All right. Um, But then you got to know how to make past subjunctive to use that. And that is a problematic thing. So I will look at that, but I want to look at that a different day. See? Yeah?
See?
And
See?
hold my feet to the fire with that because I will. But if you try to do everything in an hour, not going to happen. And then it will be the yeah, your brain will explode, and that's not fun. So know that words like when, if, even sometimes until can get sticky, and that is going to require more work. We're going to look at the obvious things, yeah? Do understand though, like if you wanted to follow the logic of my computer programmer husband, where everything is a one or a zero, true or false, true or false, not going to happen. This is going according to Spanish people logic. Ones and zeros, this is not the land of ones and zeros. This is not the land of black and white. All right. So something that you may say about that's doubtful. You got to get to know the structures. Okay. But the important thing to know is that indicative declares. So the guru that everybody's bowing to now says, forget all that stuff about a gazillion rules and this verb uses and that doesn't. But honestly, that is helpful to you guys. But he says, look, any action where use indicative, when somebody uses indicative to speak to you, they are declaring this is a fact. And this either happens as a routine, a fact, all right, or, well, yeah, either as a routine or it is happening right now, right? Might not be a routine, but it really is. It is a real thing and it is real happening. Indicative, it declara, it declares. All right. Subjunctive
So,
does not declare that something is
so
really.
subjunctive is extremely common then. I mean, it's like
Yes.
either it's happening or it's not. It makes it black and white.
Uh,
Indicative and not
so
happening.
when
I'm
I
not sure.
say, I hope you're well, yeah.
Yeah, well,
I,
I said that incorrectly. Yeah, I
yeah,
see what you're
yeah,
saying. Yeah.
that, sí, espero que estés bien. I hope you're well. Yeah.
Okay, I know what I'm trying to say.
I don't know what you are. Well, not so well, somewhere in between. I have a hope. Espero que. That's a real thing. I have this feeling of hope. But the part about que estés bien, I don't really know what your physical and mental mood or emotional mood is at this point. So that's a wishful thing. I can't declare it's a fact.
Okay, what I'm trying to say, and I'm not sure I can put it into words. Either it's actuality, I am tall, or then you go, if you can't say I am tall and you're kind of waffling, it goes to subjunctive. Anything that's kind of a waffle as to what's
Actually, let's
reality.
take your example. That's a good one.
Wish I was tall.
Uh, uh, Mom looks at Johnny and says, Juanito, pobre Juanito, no eres muy alto. You're not very tall. Juanito tiene como 5 años. Juanito tiene 5 años, ¿sí? Es un niño. Juanito, ahorita no eres muy alto. And Juanito looks up, cuando seas mayor, ¿sí? ¿Sí? Voy a ser alto. When I'm older, I'm gonna be tall. Yeah, it's not part of his reality because of his age, because of where he is.
Okay.
All of that. Cuando seas mayor, or it's cuando yo sea mayor, when I am older, and I'm not right now. See? Uh, okay. Kind of like that, yeah? Uh, subjunctive cannot declare that something is really going on. at this point. Okay. So many times with some of these iffy words like tal vez, quizás, a lot of people may choose to use subjunctive, and that's going to say they really don't have a sure feeling inside that it's going to happen. They really don't know which way it's going to go. See? Tal vez mañana haga fresco. Maybe tomorrow it'll be cool. Tal vez, maybe. I don't feel real certain about it, right? If somebody uses subjunctive with something like tal vez, they've maybe, looked at all the weather maps, yada, 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 and they feel more sure about it. So it could maybe happen in that instance, but not all the time. So, yeah, there are a lot of things where the weirdo verbs will not necessarily help us get to an understanding of why somebody uses subjunctive. So that part of saying the weirdo trigger verbs is hogwash is actually kind of true. Um, but okay. Are there any other examples in the video you want me to go over? Not with the hasta que and the hard ones at the end, because that'll come later. No? With the easy things of it, I'll probably open up a store. Yeah, I'm probably going to leave my job. Those all made sense to you? See? Bien? Okay. No sean tímidos. Don't be shy. Okay. So, así que vamos al grano. Let's go to the core bit here. And yeah, shout out if you have a question. Wow, it's disappearing everybody off my screen. I got to figure what that's about. Can you see cómo se forma el subjuntivo?
Sí.
Sí, bien, bien, bien. Ok. La manera de formar es algo muy fácil. How we form this is very, very easy, right? It always has what looks like a wrong ending, right? AR verbs use ER-IR endings. ER-IR verbs use AR endings. So it looks like it's conjugated wrong, but that means it's subjunctive, right? But we want to make sure the yo verb here with the o at the end is not in and of itself a subjunctive. It's just the starting point so that we form the subjunctive. So the way we form subjunctive is either, right? Cante, pueda, stem changes happen. Venga, that yo form dominates, and you need to know that vengo is our starting point to get to venga, vengas, venga. Okay. Vale.
Marilyn,
Sí.
is it a a safe rule to say that the first person and the third person are always conjugated the same?
They are, sí. Yo cante, María cante. El público quiere que yo cante. The audience wants me to sing. Ah, es probable que el público quiere que Beyoncé cante. It's probable that they want Beyoncé to sing. So, yeah, cante is the same for yo, and cante is the same for Beyoncé, and I would not be in the yo category, but she sure would be. So, okay. Vale. And, imperfecto did that same thing. So that's not a totally weirded out concept that the same form for yo is used for él, ella, usted. Okay. One less thing to remember, one less conjugation to remember. And these are the only irregulars, right? Dar goes into de form. Ir goes into vaya form. Ser goes into sea form. That one you hear a lot. Haber goes into haya form. Estar goes into este form. Saber goes into sepa. That's a weird one. Sepa doesn't look like saber. So, okay, those are the only irregulars, really, really, really. Dishes. That's it. Eso es. Eso es. Okay. And here is the weirdo thing, which really, even though it is kind of mocked by the modern trends in language learning for English speakers, they claim up and down and left and right that English does have a subjunctive, and we do, but it you know what? The truth is, we use many different structures to say the same thing where subjunctive will be used in Spanish. Okay. I want you to come. To come sure doesn't sound like a subjunctive thing, to come, but that's what English uses, right? He may help could start to sound like what we might call a subjunctive, right? They might show up. Sounds like something that could go into subjunctive, but I want him to come. Yeah, not so subjunctive sounding. Yeah, yet, so English does different things. And knowing that weirdo stands for verbs of wishing, and I can give you a lot of verbs that fall into that, but not all of them will, I might leave one off because I forgot one. Wishes, verbs that talk about wishing, verbs that talk about your emotional feeling about what somebody else is doing or the way something is turning out, right? So that means happy, sad, like, don't like. Uh, the I of weirdo is for impersonal phrases, the es posible, es probable kind of ideas. We'll take a look at that for sure tonight. R is for recomendar, verbs of recommending. Okay. Anything that's wishing, recommending, advice falls under those categories. D for doubt, that's a toughie. You can overthink that, but verbs that talk about doubt or something not existing at all, not being a part of reality, they will trigger subjunctive. And O for ojalá, and ojalá is one everybody likes because you don't have to think about it very hard. Ojalá always needs subjunctive, boom, and just learn that chunk and you're good. Okay. Bien. Bueno. Okay. So, así que, here you've got that layout of how, and so any verb that falls into these categories of wishing, emotion, and personal phrases, recommending, doubt, and then ojalá, right? The two you don't have to think real hard about are ojalá and impersonal phrases. Okay. Bien. Vale. So we've got all of these. Bum, 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 bum. Sometimes, look, however, sometimes we won't have a weirdo category verb to help us. And this is where the guru, who is the guy they all worship from in Spanish grammar now, says, hey, subjunctive does not, that weirdo thing does not take into account all the situations where subjunctive will be needed. And this little que as an exclamation is one. Yeah. Que te diviertas is kind of like we left off the idea of the hope. May you have a good time. And we would not say in English, may you have a good time, because it sounds sort of medieval formal, and we just don't generally say it that way. But yeah, it doesn't have a verb in front of it. Yeah, it's just like an exclamation. Yeah, que te mejores, that you get better. Meaning you're not so much, yeah, you're not better now. You're feeling kind of sick. Que te mejores, get better. That you may get better. Yeah. Que disfrutes del concierto. Enjoy that concert. Concert. Yeah. The concert hasn't started yet. Okay. And this is why that idea of declaring something as a fact is indicative, but not declaring means it isn't happening yet. This is subjunctive. The concert hasn't started yet, and you're not enjoying yourself at the concert yet because it hasn't started. So, que disfrutes is not part of reality. And it's disfrutes because it comes from or disfrutes because it comes from disfrutar. Okay? Bien? Or really common thing, que duerma bien, sleep well. You're not asleep now. I can't declare you're asleep. It's not indicative. Que duerma bien, but this does not fit into the weirdo thing so much because there's really no verb to help us out. See? Que tenga cuidado. Hey, be careful out there. Yeah. You're in a safe place now, so it doesn't matter. But que tenga cuidado. Watch it. Watch it is the idea there. Okay? See? Bien?
So Marilyn,
Sí.
on those phrases, the subject of the phrase after the K is always different than the speaker. Is that correct?
It is.
And I think
Yes.
she said if the same person is speaking and also doing, then you use indicative.
Sí. Okay. Let's take a look at that because that's a thing. Although you may find some wiggles in that too, but you know, take a look here. If there's only one subject, generally, there's no need for subjunctive, generally. And I'm going to say generally because somebody's going to find some weird situation. And I think actually, even in the video, she uses a situation where she does it, but she names somebody. Look at these two. Quiero prepararte una cena muy especial. I want to prepare you or fix you a special dinner. I want something. Declaro. I can declare that I want. That's a feeling I have. Okay? Indicativo. Quiero. And the preparar is still referring back to whoever I talk about in quiero. Yo. I both want and I'll be doing that next thing of preparar. Okay? So generally, we don't really need a subjunctive here. Yeah? Quiero prepararte, I want to fix for you, see? Una cena muy especial. But generally, in most cases, you need to have two people. The thing is, in a sentence like que tenga cuidado, there's really no two people stated there, right? But in something like this, you can clearly see there are two people stated, right? Quiero is for the yo part. That's the part I can declare. It is true. I can declare it because it's a fact. I feel that way. I want something. Quiero que, and that word que is really, we need it. Quiero que me prepares la cena esta noche. I want that you should prepare the dinner tonight, but we probably wouldn't say it that you should prepare. I want that you might do this for me. Would somebody understand you? Yes. Would they think that was weird? It sounded strange? Yes, they would. Okay. Quiero que me prepares. I want that. I want you to prepare, but we can't use it as to prepare. I wouldn't preparar because I got two separate humans. Yeah. I want you to do the preparing. I want is I can declare it. So it's indicative. Quiero. Now I've got a que and I got prepares. I want you to do the prep work. You are not, in fact, doing the prep work right now. That's somewhere down the road. Or you know what? It might never happen at all. I really don't have any idea. You could tell me you're going out with the guys to have a few beers, and that prepares part isn't going to happen at all. It might be that the prepares part will happen in half an hour, media hora. I don't know if the prepares is ever going to happen. I can't declare that as a fact because it's not going on in real time. I want, and another way to look at it is I want somebody else to hit this objective. They haven't hit that objective of getting the knife and the cutting board out and the frying pan and all that stuff. So the prepares has to stay in prepares, but it's really important we have that que word in there. Quiero que me prepares.
Marilyn,
¿Eh? Sí,
um, que tengas cuidado.
sí, sí.
Okay. If I just said tengas cuidado, I've heard it said, and I've said it that way too. Is the que imperative to use, or is it just implied? Like espero que you don't use espero.
Que is kind of implied. And if you said it to somebody as be careful, be ten cuidado. Because tengas, there would only be a negative. If it were a command, it would have to be a no tengas.
No, not a command. If
Yeah.
I'm going to be subjunctive and leave out the que, just tengas cuidado.
Que
That's
is better.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gracias.
que is better. Que is better. Yeah. Ten cuidado would be just a command. Be
Yeah,
careful. Yeah.
entiendo.
Que tengas cuidado, see? Yeah,
So
but
I've
that,
also, sorry.
no, está bien.
So I've also heard cuídate.
Cuídate is a command. Take care of yourself. Commands and subjunctive have a
Very
link like that. Yeah, they're really close in meaning because when I give a command, I really don't know if that's going to happen or not. Take care, and you may say, I'm going to have 6 beers and go start up the car and go 100 miles an hour down the road. Yeah, I know you're not going to do that, but you see what I mean. Yeah, I have no way of knowing. Yeah. I'm telling you to do it, but it's commands too are not a part of reality. I cannot declare a command. Yeah. I can want my kids to clean that toilet and it
like
never
that
happens.
happen.
Yeah, así es. Carlitos, pregunta.
With the singular uh, subject, quiero prepararte, you're reporting on a state of mind, which is a fact,
Sí,
correct?
sí,
Whereas the other one is
declaro.
a possibility because somebody else is involved.
Right. Not only do I want, but this is going to happen because I'm the one doing it. Declaro. I can declare that. But that other part, when somebody else is doing that action, I have
Yeah.
no control over whether or not it really
Yeah.
occurs. Yeah. And that's part of it. I will give for those who are brave and who like a philosophical approach. If you are that kind of person, I will give you a video to watch. And if you do not like that take on subjunctive, then don't watch it. But just to show you what she will look like. And this woman, by the way, wow, if you read her lips, she's got the most beautiful pronunciation. I can read her lips and have the sound off, and I can tell almost everything she's saying because she forms everything beautifully. She is this is a very philosophical video, and she basically says that the trigger verbs are, I'm not going to say because she doesn't actually say it because she would get demonetized. And she's going to say that right up front. She does a mild cusser on it, you know? You've got to declare that something is really happening or not declared. Now you got subjunctive, okay? So, and she gives a couple of examples of like talking with a boyfriend, and then there's another one. Subjunctive is kind of like talking with the wishy-washy boyfriend. You'd like to be a steady, and they kind of put you off and like, yeah, well, yeah, I like you, but that's subjunctive. And a lot of these people tend to say this, you know what? Subjuntivo no dice nada. Subjunctive says nothing because that nothing action isn't really happening. It really says nothing. Pero es verdad. I'll send you the link. Watch it if you like. If you don't, hey, no biggie. But it does an interesting deep dive. Okay, let's see if we can use some. Vamos a ver. Ba-bum, ba-bum. And you'll have to go back to raising your hand because I'm sharing. It's not showing me your faces. So I'm not ignoring you if you're raising your hand. I just can't see you. It's my bug I've got to figure out. Okay. This es importante que is one of those things you can just know it's an impersonal phrase. Es with, yeah, something, yeah. Es importante que. How could we end this? How could we finish this off? I'll give you one example. Un ejemplo mío. Es importante que es importante que tengamos en cuenta el precio de esto. It's important we take into account the price of this thing.
Well,
¿Sí? ¿Bien? Hay otro ejemplo.
Sí,
Bien.
es importante que bebas suficiente agua para mantenerte hidratado.
Ah, es importante que bebas suficiente líquido, suficiente agua, etcétera, etcétera, para
Ujú.
mantenerte, sí, en equilibrio, to keep yourself, in equilibrium, sí, ok. O lo que sea, whatever it may be. Bien, bien, fantástico. A ver, and we're probably gonna pop off, so I'm gonna give myself some extra space. Bien, vale, importante. Otro ejemplo. Es importante
Ellos lleguen a tiempo.
otra vez,
Ellos lleguen,
ah,
lleguen, lleguen,
mm,
to
tengo,
arrive, that they arrive.
que
Ellos lleguen,
que
que
ellos
lleguen.
lleguen, que nosotros,
Well, I was using the third person plural.
sí,
So ellos
ah,
lleguen
sí, que ellos lleguen
a tiempo.
a tiempo. Que ellos lleguen a tiempo. It's important that they arrive on time. And notice, es importante is just a statement. This thing is like a biggie. And it's a thing I can declare. Yeah. But they're not here. So that they arrive, yeah, on time is something that has not yet happened. We've got to put that into subjunctive. I can't declare that's a part of fact. Bueno, otro ejemplo.
Sí, yo
Bien.
terminé este proyecto para el viernes.
Que
Yo terminé,
que yo termine,
terminé
sí,
este
este proyecto, sí, este proyecto
proyecto para el viernes.
para viernes.
Para el viernes.
Deadline, yeah, by Friday.
Sí.
See? Que yo termine, you may need a yo in there because termine could mean mi jefe, termine could mean mi compañera, see? Termine could be mi empleado. It could be any one single person, right? So it might be important to include the yo in there. Es importante que yo termine este proyecto para viernes, and then you just give that deadline by Friday. Bien, bien, vale. Bueno, otra idea.
Sí, sí.
Que,
Es importante que sepas cómo mantener su coche,
que sepas cómo mantener, sí,
su coche.
tu coche, tu carro, lo que sea. Sí. that you know how to maintain, and I have no clue if you are like all thumbs or you know how to do something, yeah? That you know the difference between the radiator and the battery, yeah. Bien, vale. Otro ejemplo.
Ahorremos para nuestro futuro.
Que ahorremos
Sí, sí.
para nuestro futuro. Bien, perfecto. Muy bien. Buenos ejemplos, muy buenos ejemplos. ¿Sí? Ok. A ver. Buenos ejemplos. Momentito. I'm just trying to track where I cut that off. Bien. So I clear myself some space. Now, ahora, I want to show you why this que is so important to never forget. This is one of those situations where sometimes you can do a workaround and forget subjunctive, but you know what? You should get comfortable with it. So, yeah, we want you to use it. So I could, as a workaround, if I feel I'm having a major brain fart, I could just say, you know what? Es importante beber, es importante beber suficiente agua. Es importante beber. ¿Cuál es la diferencia entre esto y esto? La diferencia es esta palabra muy pequeña. Actually, there are two differences. With this particular type of situation, that means impersonal phrases that start with es and a descriptor word, right? Es importante. Es importante beber does not put a face on who is doing that action of beber.
Yo
It
no
is
sé.
saying for anybody at all, Tom, Dick, or Harry, Joe, Schmo, cualquiera, anybody, any faceless person. Es importante beber suficiente agua does not key into a specific human being. And therefore, it does not need subjunctive. But once I put a face on it that I'm talking about tú, bebas, once I put a face on ellos, lleguen, once I put a face on yo termine, then I need that que. ¿Entienden? Does that make a certain amount of sense? Yeah.
Mhm.
That is one of the golden examples of subjunctive where if you really feel you're having a brain fart and you can't get it out of your mouth fast enough because your mind just doesn't want to go there that day, you can revert to plain old infinitivo, but you can't put a face on it then. Okay? If you're going to name a person, it does sound weird to not have the subjunctive. Make sense? ¿Es lógico? Sí. Ok. Bien. Fantástico. Hay otros ejemplos con es importante. Oh, sí, Laura.
I was just wondering, in the negative, it's also subjunctive. So, no es importante que haya una torta a la
Sí,
fiesta.
sí.
It's still subjunctive.
Sí, no es importante que haya espacio en el armario. It's not important that there might be space in the closet. Yeah,
Okay.
sí. About the only example might be something like where I don't use subjunctives, something like es cierto. It's true. Because if I say it's true, I'm declaring it as a fact.
Okay.
But almost everything else will
So
use
those
subjunctive.
clauses those subjunctive clauses are subjunctive even in the negative
Yeah,
in most
even
cases.
quite often. Yeah, see, quite often.
Okay.
And when you get into the doubt thing, that will not always be true because dudo uses subjunctive, no dudo does not, but we're not doing that tonight. Yeah, see,
Okay.
bien.
It's just where it's like it's important or it's not important, that would be those are subjunctive. But if it's like it's certain or it's not certain, what you were saying.
Yeah, the
It's
sub
cierto.
yeah, the subjunctive starts to you've got to be thinking or hopefully you don't have to think real hard about it, but the fact is if it really is something that is happening at this time, then it's declaring and it uses subjunctive. If it really isn't happening, it's like I want you to prepare me a meal. You're not chopping
Okay.
stuff and putting oil in the pan and that
And
is
then
not.
es necesario, no es necesario, they still have
Sí,
subjunctive.
sí.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Bien. But I want to make sure that you understand there's a clear workaround with those impersonal phrases. Yeah. And the workaround is don't put a face on it. And then, if you want to, you can just say, I won't do subjunctive at all. Now, the quiere que is one of the big, big obvious ones. And most people don't find it hard to understand the quiere que. I want that somebody else does something. All right. If I want to swim, no subjunctive. See? Quiero nadar. Quiero nadar. Quiero que yo nades. Not no. Nobody says it that way, right? One subject only talking about me wanting to do that action. There's no need at all for a subjunctive there. Quiero nadar. Quiero hablar con ustedes. Quiero estudiar. No quiero estudiar. Quiero tomar una copa de vino. I want to have a little glass of wine. All right. Pero, quiero que tomes una copa conmigo. I want you to have a little drinky poo with me. Quiero te tomes. You're not drinking anything right now. I can't say tomas because you're not drinking. I'm going to hand you a glass now. I don't know if you're actually going to drink from it. See? Quiero que tomes una copa. I want you to have a drink. All right. So,
Marilyn,
sí.
again, this is a situation where it's mis amigos no quieren que me queje todo el tiempo. It's still subjunctive, even if it's in.
Yeah, even if it's a they
Okay.
don't want. Yeah.
Okay.
Sí, sí,
And
eso
also
es.
in the
Sí.
clause, it's like it could also be negative. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's no
Quite often it
innuendo
can
there.
still be negative. The one where you have to be careful there is with where things talk about dudo versus no dudo, things like that. Because
Okay.
not doubtful is
Oh, sure.
sure. Yeah. Bien. Okay. Let's take a look. Ejemplos. Mis amigos quieren que. Mis amigos quieren que.
We don't see the screen, Marilyn. We just see the Zoom.
Zoom.
Yeah, it just says Zoom.
Oh, perdón. Gracias.
Your
Yeah.
screen share.
Botón. Okay. Mejor? Better?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Now
Mis
everything
amigos quieren
disappeared.
que. Mis amigos quieren que.
Not
My
yet.
friends want somebody else to do something.
Okay. There
Maybe
it
they
is.
want me. Maybe they want us. Maybe they
Okay.
want their dad. I don't know. Somebody.
Sí, I have one.
Okay.
Okay. Mis amigos quieren que no cante porque no les gusta mi voz.
Que no cante porque no les gusta
Gusta mi voz.
así mi voz. Sí, así. Bien. Es como con Beyoncé. Beyoncé canta mejor. Puedo declarar, I can declare, Beyoncé canta mejor que yo. Canta mejor que yo. I can declare that, ¿sí? Bien. Pero aquí mis amigos quieren que no cante porque no les gusta mi voz. And this goes back to declare. It's a fact that they don't like my voice. That's not in question.
Mhm.
I've got a lousy voice. Ok, vale. Otro ejemplo.
I
¿Mis
have
amigos
one.
quieren qué? Sí.
Mis amigos quieren que me cocine el desayuno en la mañana.
Que cocine, que yo cocine,
Yes,
que yo cocine el desayuno en la mañana o por la mañana. ¿Sí?
en la mañana. Bien,
En la
sí.
mañana, sí. Está bien. Bien, bien. Ah, y no es mañana. It's not tomorrow. It's not the morning. It's not the morning, yeah? Que cocine, see? Or maybe it is the morning, but I haven't started the cooking yet, see? And you might want to use a yo in there if it isn't clear. If it might be clear and you can leave out the yo, but you might need it. Okay,
Tengo una pregunta, por
sí, sí.
favor.
Sí, dime.
Um, ah, yo prefiero uso me cociné, but it sounded better. Why is it
Uh,
yo?
me cocine, cook for myself.
Okay.
And maybe they do want me to cook for myself. But the me cocine there would kind of
All right.
mean you're maybe not eating it. I'm doing it, but it's all mine. Yeah. It's like you can't, sí, se puede decir, you can say, me compro una cosita. I'm buying myself a little thing. Yeah,
Okay.
me compro, I'm buying it, but none for you. Thanks very much. All for me. Yeah, me compro. Uh, so me cocine would kind of mean they're left out of it.
Okay.
And, would also mean maybe they don't want to do it for me. So that could be, but that would be kind of how somebody would read the emotion in that. Okay. Bueno, hay otro ejemplo aquí. Mis amigos quieren ¿qué?
Sí,
Okay.
Sí.
yo vaya con ellos al jardín botánico.
Que yo,
Amigos quieren que yo vaya,
ah,
yo vaya,
que baile.
no, vaya,
Oh,
vi,
vaya, perdón, vaya.
ya, sí, yo
Que
vaya
vaya con ellos. Sí.
con ellos al jardín botánico.
Al jardín botánico, sí. Bien, sí. Que vaya con ellos, sí. The fact is, we're not at the botanical gardens now. That, yeah, is what is a fact. But they would like this to happen, right? And because the vaya piece is not happening yet, that has to go. The fact that they want it is a fact. Declaran. They declare. See, mis amigos quieren. It's a fact. But que vaya con ellos, that I go with them, that may or may not happen. We don't know yet. Even if I have a hot little ticket in my hand, if we're not there yet, don't know. Bien, otro ejemplo.
Sí. Ah, mis amigos quieren que yo venga a cenar este fin de semana.
Sí, y el verbo que
Ya, venga.
que venga.
Te-
Sí, que
ven.
venga a cenar. That I come for
Sí,
dinner. Sí, I come to eat
sí,
dinner. Que venga a cenar
sí.
esta noche, que venga a cenar mañana, que venga a cenar el fin de semana o lo que sea. Sí, que venga a cenar. All right. And it's not dinner hour yet, so that venga a cenar is not yet happening. Sí, no declaro. I do not declare it. It's got to go into subjunctive. Bueno, otro ejemplo. Otro ejemplo. Hay otro.
Que nos ganemos el campeonato.
Ah, que ganemos el campeonato. Mis amigos quieren que ganemos. They want us to win. They want us to win, pero they want that we might win. Ellos quieren que ganemos el campeonato. No winner yet, so no puedo declarar. I cannot declare that ganamos as a indicativo. It's ganemos, right? The game is not yet won, or the championship is not yet won. The tourney is not yet won. Fantástico. Hay otro ejemplo.
Y mis amigos quieren que les pague la cuenta al restaurante. No vas a pasar.
No va pero no va a pasar.
Ujú.
Ah, interesante. Sí, me gusta. And be careful that you pronounce this as pague. Pague.
P-
Not
P-
pague. Yeah. Pague means I did it, a fact, pretérito, preterite. So make
no,
sure you don't punch the e at the end.
okay.
Que, and probably we would need this to be a les, right? I pay for them.
Les
Yeah. Que les
pague.
pague la cuenta. I pay it for them. Que les pague la cuenta. I pay the bill for them. Yeah, that's just the les part. Que les pague la cuenta, pero no va a pasar. And here's what goes into indicativo. This
Sí.
no va a pasar is me declaring this is a fact. Not going to happen. They
Uh,
want me to pay, but forget it. Yeah. Uh, and that's how you know what people's intentions are, right? The intention on their part is the pague la cuenta. Hey, pick this up and no va a pasar. Indicativo, declaro, this is not going to happen. Va a pasar. Ok, fantástico. Hay otro ejemplo. This is a pretty easy one to understand. Yeah, see? Bien. This is an easy one to understand because it's really clear when we use quiero que, and now I've got a different person. But you'll notice in all of these, I'm putting a face on that person in the second half. It's a different person. It's not, the second verb is not the same human being as mis amigos quieren. It's a different human being after the word que, right? So it can be any person at all, but I have to put a face on it, right? Because, well, I have to know, who I'm talking about in that other half, right? But this is not a part of reality yet. ¿Sí? ¿Tiene sentido? Makes some sense? Bien. Okay. A ver, let's take a look. Adelante. Adelante, adelante. Verbs of recommending, and they may be things like recomendar, sugerir, suggest, aconsejar, to counsel somebody, to give them advice, right? Could be any number of things. El mesero recomienda que, and now we need a new and different person. El mesero recomienda que,
El mesero recomienda que nosotros pedamos el pescado.
otra vez,
Nosotros pedamos el pescado.
quedamos.
Pedamos to order?
Oh, pedimos. Pedamos. Pedamos el pescado, ¿sí? That will need something funny here. This is one of the odd verbs. It's an
Pedamos.
IR verb that's a stem changer. This is an oddball. El pescado. Pidamos. Yeah. Pedir is one of those odd verbs that is an IR verb that is also a stem changer. It does an odd thing, but okay. Bien. Otro ejemplo. El mesero recomienda que.
Sí. El mesero recomiendo que bebamos un vino tinto
Vino
con,
tinto
sí, con nuestra comida.
con nuestra comida. Sí. Bien. Bien. Recommends that we drink red wine. Vino tinto es red wine. Eso sí. Bien. Fantástico. Otro. ¿Qué?
Que tome el vino rojo.
Que tome, and they won't use el vino rojo, they'll use vino tinto.
Okay.
I know it seems logical to you say vino rojo, but it's vino tinto. It's just what they use for red wine. Bien. Excelente. Otro.
Que tratemos cochinita pibil.
Oh, that we try?
Sí,
And are we
tratemos.
trying this by putting it in our mouths or on our tongues?
Yes.
Probably this. Probemos. Probar. Probar. Probar is to try it out, like sample it.
Okay.
Tratar is to try to do something. Probar is to try out. Que probemos, por ejemplo, que probemos la especialidad de casa. ¿Sí? De la casa. La especialidad de la casa. We try out the house specialty.
Okay.
¿Sí? El mesero recomienda que todos coman, ¿sí? El menú del día. That everybody eats the menu of the day, which is like a special thing in Spain. It's all the dishes, multiple courses in one meal. It's a set meal that you order. Okay, bien. Vale. Otro ejemplo. Hay otro. El mesero recomienda
Que nosotros salgamos y paguemos la cuenta.
that we leave. Y paguemos la cuenta, ¿sí? Bien, sí. Entonces, sí. Recommending, suggesting, advice. Those things we can declare. Somebody tells you to do something, we can declare it. But will you get out and will you pay? Well, they hope so. Yeah, but it hasn't happened yet, is the point, right? Will you order the menu the day of? No, you want to go a la carte. We don't know yet. You try out the specialty. We don't know if you'll try it or taste that, right? That you drink or they order the red wine. But we don't know. Maybe you'll have the other one, even though it's not the best idea, right? We don't know. That thing has not happened yet. ¿Ok? A ver. Vale. Bueno. Pam. And remember, I can't see you guys, so you'll have to shout out. No creo que. I don't believe that. I don't think that. We are shoving the next part into, I don't even think this is happening. It's not real. So I cannot declare the second half because no creo. I don't believe it. I don't think that. Now, I can think and I can be wrong, but when I declare I don't think that, I think I'm right. Even if I'm not, I think I'm right. Okay, no creo que mis vecinos
Estén allí.
estén allí. I don't think they're there. Que estén en casa. Bien, sí, que estén en casa. Ok, vale, perfecto. Otro. No creo que mis vecinos
No creo que mis vecinos aprecian todo el ruido de nosotras ya está.
que, ok, no, aprecien,
Aprecian.
they appreciate. I don't think they appreciate, lo que sea.
El ruido de,
El ruido
de nosotras fiesta.
de nuestra fiesta,
No, nuestra fiesta.
de nuestra fiesta. Sí, que aprecien el ruido. I don't think they appreciate the noise. Sí, bien. No creo que mis vecinos
se muden a Nueva York sin decirme.
se muden, that they're moving. They're staying. Sí, se muden a otro lugar. Yeah. I don't think they're moving out. Ok, a ver. Muy bien, muy bien. Hay otro.
Marilyn, just to ask again. So if it's creo que mis vecinos están en casa, yeah? It's indicative, right?
Creo que mis vecinos están en casa.
So what
So
other
this,
verbs? So if it's like if there's doubt, like, but it's still doubtful to me. It's like I think, I believe.
yeah,
Pienso, no
I,
pienso is the same as credo, right?
yeah. Creo que, pienso que, sí.
Those are all indicative. Pienso
Sí,
que,
creo
credo
que,
que.
and I could be totally like off my rocker wrong. Yeah.
But the
But
general
if
rule
I'm saying
is
I think that, I'm declaring it's a fact. Now, here is a waffle room thing. I have from time to time heard somebody saying something like, creo que llueva mañana. I think it might rain tomorrow. But if they use creo que and then stick a subjunctive in, once in a while somebody might do that. They're telling you they're waffling. They're not 100% there. Really, the no creo is where you have to make sure. Yeah, no creo is saying, I don't believe this. So that second half is not part of reality. That's just the way the person is thinking. Es así. Bien?
you know, like buscar it's like, oh, ella busca una una novia. But it's like if you're not looking for, ella no busca
Oh,
un novio que sea muy guapo. It's like, is
ah,
that no busca is indicative, or I know busca is
okay.
subjunctive.
Busco is a different thing. Let me show you an example of busco with subjunctive and busco without subjunctive. Bien. Busco, por ejemplo, busco busco el celular, busco el celular, busco el nuevo celular que está aquí en la tienda. I know you have this new phone. Busco el celular que ustedes tienen aquí en en esta tienda. Busco el nuevo modelo que vi ayer. I'm looking for the new model that I saw yesterday. I'm stating that I know it's here. Okay? Pero, por ejemplo, busco un teléfono que tenga más memoria. Busco un teléfono que tenga más memoria. I don't really know if the phone has more memory or not. Un teléfono que tenga más memoria. It's just out there, and maybe you've got more memory, what I consider more. Maybe you don't. Es la diferencia. Busco el empleado que puede usar, productos de Microsoft. I'm looking for an employee who can use Microsoft. See? Somebody in here knows it.
Because, yeah, it's indicative because it exists.
Now it exists. But now I'm looking for a new employee. Busco a alguien que sepa usar productos de Microsoft. I'm looking for somebody who can use Microsoft products. And I don't
okay,
know.
So that's really just like, you're using subjunctive because you don't know if anybody here can
Because
do
we
that.
don't know if anybody's going to hit that qualification.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What about the busco nuevo empleado que puede usar Microsoft? Like, you're not looking for is, if you're not looking, are you looking for a new employee? No busco. If you're not, then it's indicative.
Yeah. See. Yeah. I mean, there's got to be an idea to connect to it. See? You've got to have a need. You've got to have, to use subjunctive with busco, you've got to know that thing is out there and actually exists.
Okay,
And
so
you've
then
got
also
something
if it's
in
like,
mind.
buscas un teléfono que tenga más memoria, because then you don't, then it
You
would
don't,
be,
you don't know if one's got more memory.
but
You don't know if
then
it,
to answer it, you would say, no busco un
esto
teléfono.
sí tiene esto sí tiene más memoria. This one does have more memories. Is how he answers it back. And he declares, sí, esto tiene más memoria.
Or what if the answer is like, if I work at like a cellular telephone store, I'm asking, ¿buscas un teléfono que tenga más memoria? And then you would answer, no busco un teléfono que, no busco that. It doesn't change anything, I guess. I don't know. My question's probably not
No,
clear. But
ok. La respuesta. Es posible que la respuesta sea, it might be that the answer is, no existe un teléfono que tenga más memoria.
okay.
It's not out there. O sí, tenemos este modelo que sí tiene la memoria que necesita. Bien,
Okay,
ok.
so it's really about the interpretation then. Like, you just don't know if it's pie in the sky, then it's subjunctive. But if it's like, no, it's definitely, everybody
Eso,
knows how to use
sí,
Microsoft.
sí,
So,
sí.
okay.
You might be hoping for something that isn't out there. Hey, this one is, it's what you got. It's not going to be any better than that. Sí, Esteban.
I think this is driving me wacky. I would simply say, busco por un teléfono con más memoria. ¿Existe o no?
It's a
Get away
workaround.
subjunctive on this.
It's a workaround. It's a workaround. You can sometimes avoid that. You can sometimes avoid it. Es posible.
I
A
will.
veces, sometimes. A veces, sometimes. Okay. Bien. Vale. Okay. What I want to do, lo que quiero hacer, and I'm doing it, so I declare it. Lo que quiero hacer. Vamos a continuar. We're going to continue with these. I'm going to send you a different page. We'll finish these up la semana que viene, ¿sí? Vamos a terminar con todo la semana que viene. But I want you to ponder these, which aren't necessarily workarounds, but they do two different things. So I want to show you where I don't need any subjunctive and where I do, right? And some of them are kind of, the first three are easy because we've got a quiero, right? So I give you two examples. I want you to come up with another example for this number two category. Es mejor salir temprano. It's better to leave early. That is a faceless statement. I'm not putting any face on that, but es mejor que el paciente salga temprano. It's better that the patient leaves early. Now I put a face on it, el paciente, and I need a salga. Yeah. Bien. Come up with another example using es mejor que, but plug something different idea, a different verb, a different person to talk about with es mejor que, right? Same thing with es bueno. Es bueno ordenar el cuarto. It's good to tidy up the room. I am not saying who has that job. I'm just saying it's a good thing, but I haven't put a face on it. Es bueno que tu hermana ordene su cuarto. It's good that your sister tidies up her room. Okay? Come up with something other than tu hermana and a different verb than ordene, but something that shows the subjunctive side. I want you to only show the number two subjunctive side, right? And we've got some easy stuff in the second half there. ¿Tiene sentido? Makes sense?
Sí.
See? Bien. And we'll look at that kind of sticky cuando thing next week because cuando is such a common word we use all the time, but we'll take a look at practice with the cuando idea. If you get a chance and you listen to the philosophical thing of why we use subjunctive or not, it's kind of helpful because she throws out some ideas of, things that people would say that will be helpful. Okay. Sí, sí, bien. Vale. Okay. Eso es todo. That's it for now. I am not going to give you more reading, but we're going to dive deeper, and we will go into cuando next week for sure, because that one is kind of hard. Bien?
Bien.
Bien. And if we get time, even hasta que, which is another kind of problem. Yeah. Yeah. Sí,
Muchas
bien.
gracias.
Okay, ¿todo bien?
Todo bien, gracias.
Que tengan muy buen fin de semana, que tengan buen fin de semana, ¿sí?
Igualmente.
Igualmente, sí. Muchísimas gracias. Bien. Vale, fantástico.